Hi, and welcome to this week's video. Today I'm going to demonstrate how to create a contemporary loose landscape using a very limited palette in acrylic paint. Using an approach where less is more sometimes frees us up, and by restricting the colour palette to just 2 colours plus black and white can be very liberating. So I've chosen 2 complementary colours. I've got Ultramarine Blue and Cad Orange, which I've mixed using Cad Yellow and Cad Red, and then just some Mars Black and some Titanium White. I'm working in my sketchbook and I'm going to be using some large brushes and palette knives to create a loose abstract landscape. So the first colour that I'm going to mix is a mixture of the 2 complementary colours, and this will create a lovely neutral grey colour. So whenever you mix complementary colours, they create really neutralised colours, and this will be the first colour that I use to block in some darks. And you can obviously change the tone, making it a warmer grey or a cooler grey. But you can create this absolutely beautiful dark neutral grey colour, and that's just with the blue, ultramarine blue, and the Cad Orange. And I'm going to start by wetting the paper with a few splashes of water, just to add some unpredictability. And then just blocking in some of these darker shapes in the foreground. So I've not really got a photo or anything that I'm looking at here. I'm just creating an abstract feeling landscape with an area of sky, an area of foreground, and the horizon line between. And I've just masked off 2 areas in my sketchbook here with masking tape around the edge. I want to create some interesting marks just in this foreground area, because I think when we restrict ourselves in one element, such as I'm restricting the colour palette here to just 2 colours in black and white, this then makes us think more about what else we can do to add interest to the piece. So interesting marks, using different tools perhaps, and just experimenting with how you can get the most out of these limited colours. So then in the sky area, I think I'll go in with a wash of this orange. It's a very bright orange. So it's always useful to have a bit of kitchen paper to blend and apply the paint softly. I think I might neutralise that a bit with some of this dark tone that I've mixed. And a bit of white as well. Just getting some interesting shapes into this sky area. And then I think I'll do the same with the blue. So get a bit of the ultramarine blue, mix in a bit of this dark shade to neutralise it a bit, and then add some of the white. And where you have the complementary colours against one another, the contrast between them is so beautiful. They really make each other sing. So then I'll get my palette knife with a bit of this white paint. Just add some more interesting shapes and texture into the sky. And that orange is getting a bit muddy, so I'm going to have to leave this one to dry a bit. So I'm trying not to overthink these landscapes at all, really. Just blocking in some shapes that might represent sky and land, as I really want this to have an abstract landscape feeling. So I'm going to leave these two to dry now and then come back in a bit. So I've let those dry now for about 5 minutes, and that's the great thing about acrylic paint, is it dries really quickly compared to other paints, so then you can add layers back over the top. And I've just mixed up this neutral grey colour just to tidy areas up. So this is the Cad Orange mixed with the Ultramarine Blue to create that dark, and then I've added quite a bit of white to it to create this neutral grey. I'm going to just start applying this to just tidy areas up and to give more of a contrast between the horizon line and the sky. But I still want to create that loose feeling, so I don't want to overwork and tidy up too much. It's always that balance between creating a loose feeling piece and stopping yourself from overworking. So some very loose brush strokes applied with this big flat-headed brush. And I really quite like the horizontal element of this one, but actually now that I've added these horizontal marks into this piece, I don't think that works as well. I quite like the diagonal element there. And scraping away the paint to reveal the layers underneath is also a really lovely technique for creating additional texture. And I'm not keen on this splotch of orange that's just randomly there, so I'll go in with some blue. I really like this area here that looks like some natural grasses, and I want to try and incorporate that a bit on this side as well, so I'm just blocking in a bit more of the dark tone, and then I can scratch through that. So I think that top piece is working quite well. This piece, I think that also needs, I've lost quite a lot of the land compared to the sky. So I think if I block more of this in, and introduce some more light areas on the horizon line, I think that can work quite well. So I just love the range of tones you can get with a really limited palette, and these neutrals that you can mix by mixing both complementary colours together are really lovely. And always remember to clean your palette knife. Just got a blob of dark in the sky there. You can also blend with your finger to create really soft edges. I can feel myself overworking this piece a bit too much. So when you find that happening, it's good to stop, pause, look at the piece and decide what your next moves are going to be, rather than rushing in and doing just anything. So I think I'm going to add a bit more blue with some strong directional brush strokes. Just to add a sense of calm, an area where your eye can rest, because it's quite heavy with texture at the moment. And then I think I want to remove this blue at the top and change that to the orange colour. So that's calmed that piece down a lot, but now I think it's missing something compared to this one. It's always difficult to get that balance. I think perhaps some darker blue into this one as well. Only some very gentle, really quite dry brush marks. Want to introduce a few of those grasses in, similar to this piece. But I really like that area. So think you can really start to see how many different tones and variations of colours you can create with just such a limited colour palette. I can feel myself getting a bit too fiddly with it now, so that's where I'm going to leave it. There's one bit I've just seen that I'm going to just quickly change. So that's where I'm going to leave it, and I'll peel off the masking tape now. So here are the two loose contemporary landscapes that I've created using a very limited colour palette, using Ultramarine Blue, Cadmium Orange, Black and White. I'm really happy with the abstract and loose feel of the pieces, and I just love the neutral grey tones that I've created using the two contrasting colours. Also, where the two colours sit alongside one another, they really make each other sing. The loose brush marks and using the flat-headed brush to create these very bold strokes here also is something that I want to carry forward. So overall, I'm really happy with that process. So I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. I'd love to know what your favourite limited colour palette is. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching.